I've worked with hundreds of women entrepreneurs to help them market their businesses. Behind their businesses, they all have stories to tell. Whether it's battling mommy guilt, starting a business after being fired from a six-figure job, or realizing they needed to pivot and forge an uncharted path, they've all experienced something on their journey to success. I'm one of these women too, and I'm here to share our stories on Bright Girls in Business. What's up? What's up? What's up? It's another Wednesday, and we are back with the Bright Girls in Business show. Now, I am Chanel Yarber. I am the Bright Girl. I am the host. I am the curator. I am the whole shebang, if you will. And I am I've been geeked up since this morning. I gotta laugh. I have been geeked up since this morning to have my guest today on the show, Erin Cross. Man, okay, all right. I'm gonna do a real introduction. Okay, so Erin Cross is an educator, business coach, author, and singer-songwriter in Chicago, Illinois, by way of Cleburne, Texas, by way of New Orleans, Louisiana. Erin received her bachelor's degree in music business from the University of Texas at Arlington and her Master of Education in Curriculum and Instruction with a concentration in ed tech from Louisiana State University at Shreveport. And this is a new degree. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. In 2017, she created Beatrice and the Beat, which is an interactive music educational resource that aims to create academic and cultural relevance for today's young musician. She published her first book, Beatrice Loves to Move, and she began coaching other service industry professionals to use their skills and experience to launch their own businesses through the Key Factor. Erin used to be a teacher, but this year she stepped away from the classroom and now she's focusing on full-time entrepreneurship. And so today we are going to talk about how you can teach and grow rich. Welcome, Erin.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Now, listen. Okay, so that was the professional introduction. See, look, now she got to sip her wine. All right.
I do.
Okay, so that was a professional introduction. So here's the real.
Oh gosh.
Erin is my good girlfriend, my frister,
yes.
one of my very best friends for the past nearly 20 years.
Yeah.
So if I'm rocking, she rolling, and vice versa. We have had tons of adventures, both here in Texas and in Chicago. Over the years, we've lived in 3 states together, Texas, Indiana, and Illinois.
Oh my God.
Yes, we have. And we got a whole lot of shenanigans under our belt.
I plead the 5th.
But we're here today to be business-wise. So I put that out there as a disclaimer to the audience. I don't know which way this conversation is going to go. My friend is here in town from Chicago. And so, I had to get us some wine from the wine bar down the way so we can have a good kiki and talk. So
Yes.
there you have it. So, Erin, welcome back to Texas.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
Yes, ma'am. So, all right. So the last time I saw you, you were a K through 5.
Pre-K through 5. Pre-K 4,
yeah. Dealing with them little babies.
It changed.
Ooh. Okay, so she was a pre-K through 5 music educator, elementary music teacher. And now, months later, she's thriving and surviving in Chicago as an entrepreneur, doing her thing. So tell me, how has that transition from the classroom now to being on your own? How's that been?
It's been a mix of things, good things, wonderful and amazing things. I prayed for this moment in the sense of being able to transition out of the classroom. And, I took a good old note from your book and decided to give myself a chance and bet on me. So here I am, and I am looking forward to seeing everything that transpires.
I'm so
as a
proud of
result.
you. I really am. So like friend to friend.
Friend to friend.
So that's our little saying. Every time we on the phone and we talking and we got to be real with each other, we say friend to friend. So friend to friend, I really am super, super proud of you. Like
Aww.
you've always, no, for real, you've always been very supportive of me. And I feel like I might be supportive of you. I don't know.
Yes,
I
you
might not be
are.
the best friend. You know,
Completely
lately I've been questioning my friendship skills. I've been questioning my friendship skills. But just to see you and to know your heart and to know how hard you've been working at this and all the things that you desire to do and have wanted to do. Okay, we ain't come here to cry. We came here to laugh.
Hey, there's space for it all.
You know, but I really am. I really am excited. I know how the transition from Chicago to here and back has been. So just seeing you thrive is just like doing my heart so much joy. So I had to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
So what made you, because, okay, going back, like I said, we've been friends for like forever. And I remember before you weren't a teacher, you were actually in marketing like me.
Sales and sponsorships.
Sure was. Okay, so how did you end up in the classroom with the kids?
Girl, my mama. No. My parents had always encouraged me to move in education. And I was really like, I don't be liking other people's kids like that. I like our family's kids, and that's that. But then I had worked for a credit union, and I literally was waking up, I had moved back from Chicago at that time. I was driving from Cleburne to Arlington, working as a sponsorship and sales manager, and literally getting up at like 5:30, doing all the paperwork, getting the team ready to go out and do events all day long, and getting back to Cleburne about like 10:30, 11 o'clock. And now my dad is not one to say, you need to quit a job, okay?
No. Look, I know, shout out to Mr. Cross.
I know, right? But when he saw how exhausted I was, and I don't want to give the old boss a platform, but just the stress. He was like, you might want to go on and try something else. And my mom was like, why don't you become an educator? And so after days and weeks and months of driving back and forth and working those hours, getting very little sleep, I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm going to try my hand at this. And I kid you not, turns out I like other people's kids.
Look at that.
Turns out I love them, and they love me too.
Look at that. Look at that. Even though you had all them posts about them kids in the class.
Well, we just gonna sip on that.
All them posts about how them crazy kids in the classroom was driving you nuts. I'm surprised.
Yes. I have experienced a lot of things, and I remember telling some team members, the art teacher and PE coaches and librarian, like, I was an educator for 8 years.
It was been that long?
It was. And it never felt like work.
That's awesome.
It never felt like work. I felt like I was going to work or going to a place with family, because my team and the friends that I met along the way, they felt like family, you know, and we would live and do life together in a sense. And then all the kids was like, it's like I had 700 nieces and nephews.
Oh, wow.
Some of them would call me mom, and then some of them I'm like,
wow.
No, I'm not your mama, okay? But when I began to get in the classroom, and it just all became so effortless and easy, it was like, okay, I finally found my thing. Because I had been wanting to I knew that something was supposed to happen for me. I knew that I was supposed to be doing something meaningful, you know, and having an impact. But it took me a long time to find my thing. And I'm so grateful that I did, because the experiences I had, being able to pour into the kids and feeling like they're pouring into me, I wouldn't take anything for it.
Well, I'm going to say friend to friend. See, okay, for real. I'm glad you found it because when we were in Chicago the first time,
I need you to sign an NDA before
girl, you was stressing me out. Y'all, Erin had all these wild jobs. It was like every day it was an adventure. And I'm like, where are you? She was finding jobs like on Craigslist and stuff. And I was like, friend, why you doing
I like
these
to look
things?
at myself as a go-getter.
Was that what
I
you was
was
doing?
getting the wrong thing at the time.
Girl, you was getting a lot of mess. That's what you was
I was
doing.
getting a lot of stories. That's what it
Well,
was.
there you go. There you go.
Adventures.
There you go. So you get into the classroom and you're teaching and you found your thing.
Yes.
Right? How did the business come about?
So after like getting in there, I took necessary trainings because coming from like my path was an alternative certification path. I went to school for music and I got a bachelor's in music business, but I needed the education component. So I ended up going through an alternative cert through ACT Houston at Dallas and took a 2-week intensive position or class, and then got into the school district, which that was totally and completely divine, I feel like. And about a year into it, a friend of mine who hosts early childhood conferences, she said, do you think you would want to, do a workshop and just train early childhood workers on like music? Because we haven't had that. And I was like, sure. Lo and behold, I found the additional things that goes with my thing to do the things.
All the things.
They were all like, you should train and you should teach and you should coach and you should, and just being able not only to, like, I found out I was giving kids an awesome educational experience in class because one little boy was like, oh, Miss Cross, class was lit,
Girl, you had them kids in there rapping and dancing and twerking. I'm like, what is these kids?
Well, they decided to twerk. I didn't.
You didn't encourage. Yeah, no, she didn't encourage that parent.
But I was also giving educators an experience, and I wanted to serve in a more broader fashion. Like I am someone, I am an extrovert, and so me being indoors in a classroom all day, love the kids and all that, but I wanted to give the same experience to other kids because when I began to hear different stories about different educational experience, because at the time my sister was a music teacher in the same district, and just hearing about different things that were going on, and I wanted representation. When you begin to dive into the music curriculum for elementary, there are very few curriculum that represents us properly, or it's communicated through the lens of our European friends. Right. I wanted to create the space for children of color to be able to see themselves and have them also tell the stories and learn not just about Johann Sebastian Bach or Peter Ilyich Tchaikovsky. I wanted them to learn about different artists. I wanted them to hear different music. I wanted them to experience it all. And so once I started doing that and the kids were being able to see themselves and, sitting with a child, talking to that child about music and them using the terminology, you're hearing in this baby voice, right? You're hearing a kid talk about, well, I love how the music expands and it crescendos in this part. They're using these words. And you're just like,
that's so cute.
I just love this so much. The total mushy part of me came out. So I just wanted to give that to as many kids and teachers as possible because sometimes teachers don't have the resources. And so I wanted to create resources.
And that's one area I really want to lean into because we hear, all the time about education and what's going on in the school systems and teachers getting burned out, teachers quitting, like not having enough teachers in the classroom. Now it's like 40 kids to a teacher in some, districts and things like that. How did you, how did you navigate that? And was that an issue for you? Did that like turn into a stressor point while you were?
I didn't just now. So I'll say, the angst has been brewing in a sense, especially when the pandemic hit and we were able to see education can happen in different ways. The educational system that exists today existed 60, 70 years ago. And if anything, the pandemic shone a spotlight on how children can learn at home. And while people were saying, or the media put out, they are behind, it's a mix of situations. That's not the whole story. You have different scenarios at home. You have lack of accountability. You have, all these different elements that come into play. And I was reading an article by the National Education Association. Earlier this year in February, they put out that they had done a poll or survey, and 55% of the 3 million educators in this country were already considering leaving.
Wait, 55%? Like
55%.
Over half of them just saying, bye, I'm out.
By the end of last school year, 567,000 educators left.
Whoa.
So the teacher shortage we're experiencing.
Oh my God. That's like 2 cities worth of teachers.
Right.
Two, like not districts, but like 2 cities of population.
Right.
Worth of people.
People begin to think differently about education. I had a friend of mine, she was an educator. Families in her area or city where she lives, they pooled together to pay her salary for her to teach a cohort of kids. There are several homeschool co-ops that band together and were created and started, and they're vetting curriculum and taking, people are finding other ways to give quality education to their kids because so many different things came into play. You had the politics of school, the bureaucracy of it. You also had things that were going on in our country at the time with the president and how, misinformation and people fighting to keep or reframe or whitewash, history. So people begin to look and see, I'm paying X amount for daycare when I could stay home, educate our kids, and I can educate other kids in the neighborhood or in my community, and we can all take care of, frame what we want our education for our kids to look like. And it's more interactive. And so we have to really consider what that looks like. And if we don't jump in on that, I'm not saying that homeschooling is always the answer. For some kids, it works. For some kids, it doesn't. Distance learning works for some kids. Distance learning doesn't work for others. But we do have an obligation to meet that need. As educators, we have to differentiate the learning. And so if we don't do that, then we're not serving our students.
Wow.
So
I'm just thinking about the numbers that you just threw out there. And I don't have any kids, so.
But it's alarming.
In my mind, I'm like, whatever. It don't matter to me, right? But I do have nephews. I do have, family members that are school age and things like that. And I'm just like, man, because for me, elementary school, middle school, baby, that was when I shined. Like, honey, what? On the road, what? Like all of that. Like, I just remember having a good time in school. But I also remember my teachers being very hands-on and really caring, and my mom having a relationship with girl, my mom used to come up to the school and talk to the teachers, and I'd be like, oh my God, why they her friend? Like, don't,
Yeah.
But
I didn't want to see that at my school. Like, if I see my parent,
girl, it's
I am
like,
the
whoa,
most on-task person you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, but now it just seems like it's a disconnect. And like you said, teachers are like, all right, I could do something else. I saw something, I think it was like a teacher was making more at Starbucks.
Yeah.
As a barista.
Yeah.
Like, that just blows my mind. Because I remember even in elementary school, speaking of my own, time in school, I remember one time we were walking through the mall, me and my mom, and I walked up and I saw Mrs. Miles, my kindergarten teacher, working at JCPenney. Mm-hmm. And then as a kid, I was just excited to see Mrs. Miles because Mrs. Miles, she was a black lady and she was beautiful. Like, she was like my role model at the time. So Mrs. Miles was everything to me. I still talk to Mrs. Miles. That was my kindergarten teacher, but I still talk to Mrs. Miles. Hey, Mrs. Miles.
But that's awesome.
But I remember seeing her and being like excited to see her out in public. But now as an adult, I realized like Miss Miles had to deal with us during the day and then turn around and go work and hang shirts at JCPenney. Like, what kind of mess is that?
Yep.
That's crazy.
When you're in the thick of it, in the classroom, and you're having to do the lessons, and you're having to curriculum map and vet curriculum, or lay out the scope and sequence for what you're going to teach, and you don't think about all the different skills that you are getting that translate in other areas. And people begin to get exposed to that. Why am I analyzing data, which I was a music teacher, but we still had to look at like how our students were performing. everyone in the school or the professional learning community had to look at how our students were performing, and see how we could weave in and, the core curriculum into our arts classes. So you're basically teaching people how to analyze data. You're also, there's the leadership component that's there. There's the creative component because you're creating a learning experience or creating engaging lessons. So teachers are getting all these skills that if you're in education, it was the underlying thought that this could only be used
in that setting. Yeah.
But just like project management, we all have gotten to where we are by an educator, whether you were a PE coach, whether you were a life coach, whether you are a business, CEO, you were educated by someone, whether it was training in the workplace. All of those skills, what gives educators the leg up is we are taught the processes, the systems of how you take someone from knowing, I don't want to say nothing, but having base knowledge on something to mastering it. And those skills are translated in any industry.
So I want to lean into that because
let's lean.
Yeah, let's lean. Let's lean and let's have a sip of this wine. So I have other teacher friends and, of course, just LinkedIn, social media, all of that other stuff. And I think that a lot of teachers, let me put the caveat out there. I'm not trying to drain the schools with this. We need teachers, y'all. We need teachers. Mm-hmm. But I think that so many people, like you said, they feel like they're backed into a corner or they're trapped or they have a wage capacity, right? They can't make any more. They can't do any more. So they're stuck because this is what they've been doing for 15, 20 years or however long. This is what they've always, aspired to be and thought that they would, that would be their career path. What's your advice to somebody, like you just said, about the transferable skills and finding other ways to teach and grow rich and not be, having to be a JCPenney?
I would say get quiet. Nothing starts without reflection, right? So you can look at what you have accomplished and modify. So if I were someone who was creating a lesson plan, right? I'm not just creating a lesson plan, it is a journey because one step precedes another. So I am taking someone, again, who has base level knowledge or no knowledge on something, and I'm getting them to the place where they master it to a certain level. Now, within that, I have to assess where they are. So that's evaluating and research and data analysis. And I have to, see all the different things. So we use like Bloom's taxonomy, which takes you from base level knowledge to what is mastery, like creation. Okay? So if you are someone who is trying to, I would say, launch into something else, I would get quiet, okay? Give yourself a chance. Do all the heart and mind work. You got to say yes here and here, right? And see the possibilities. Okay, start thinking outside the box. Look at your curriculum, vitae. I always get that word wrong, but here I am. And your resume, still I rise. But look at your resume. Look at all of the trainings you have been a part of. You are not just an educator. You are also one who navigates crisis. You create policies and procedures, because how your class operates, some teachers, you can go into their classroom, it's like a well-oiled machine. And some teachers, it's like, welcome to the jungle, but amen. But, you can, like, just looking at your experience and then your years of doing that. And if you were team lead, if you served, in other ways, you can look at that and see how those skills can also be applied. Even though the wording may be different, it's all semantics. You just see what can transfer over into this area. Teachers are project managers, they're business analysts, they're consultants, they are crisis. They're behavior specialists. They are
therapists, everything.
Exactly. And so they're client relations, account managers, each child is, they're case managers, right? Because each child has their own ecosystem, I guess, of elements that impact their learning. And so they're community liaisons, like you're in contact with grandma and mom and dad, and then the counselor, and then there's so many different avenues that you can launch out into. You just have to reframe your thinking and see that it's possible. And you have to have the confidence in yourself to assert yourself. I started doing trainings, and when I ended up, like just in telling different people in the school, like what I was going to be doing. I was going to be training early childhood workers. And they're like, I could never do that. If you think that, I'm like, you present every day. You stand in front of 30, sometimes 100, because, I would see different kids at different hours each day. So within a day, I would see like 120, 150 kids.
Wow.
But you're presenting over and over and over.
Wow.
That's public speaking. That's presentation skills. You're pulling together a slide deck. You're guiding kids through activities. And then when you see that they are off track or they're not getting it, you're having to reteach. All of those skills are transferable. Whether you're transferring into your, being an edupreneur or corporate, you can take those skills and navigate yourself about that classroom.
I love that.
Now, I want to say this. We need teachers.
Yes, we do.
But, and teaching is completely rewarding. Nothing like it. No lie. But if you're someone who knows that you have a higher purpose or a different purpose, I'll say it in that way, because to constantly be in that classroom and when you have certain behavioral issues and you start seeing instruments flying across the room.
Oh, no, not instruments.
Or chairs and books, and you're like, and then you continue to show up giving grace and a fresh start every day, and you feel like that's your purpose, that is your higher purpose, and you have the grace to go through that. But if you're getting this in the back of your head, like, there's something different, I just feel like I should be somewhere else, or, you know what, this isn't working for me, I'm getting burned out, maybe you need to back away from the classroom, because it is worse for you to lose your patience, lose your grace, and your love for the profession than to stay in. Now, I love the profession, but I just knew that there was something different, a different way to serve in the profession, and I am pursuing that. But I have friends who are like, this is it for me. And I'm like, good, stay there, do that. But for the group of us who we see something different, it is our obligation to do that, because you don't want to be, in a space where you're not serving to the best capacity, So
I love listen, y'all, my friend is smart. Okay.
I'm smart.
Yes, my friend is smart. So listen, I know we done talked all about the business and everything like that. Before we go, I want to transition really quick.
Okay.
And do a friend to friend top 5 questions. There's no right or wrong answer to the questions. Yes, sip your wine. Have a sip.
Shot?
Here's the caveat to this. I promise you, I will not do you like Martin did Monique when he brought her on that show.
Speak on it.
It's sabotage, though, okay? I won't do that. But we're going to have a little fun. I got to have a little fun while you're
Of course, absolutely.
Okay, so my first question.
Okay.
Tell us. Okay, hold on. I got to get myself
Foolishness
together.
Loading in like 3, 2.
It's going to be some foolishness. Okay. All right. I'm going to lead in with this one. Okay. If you had a choice between being invisible, flying, or teleportation, which one would you choose and why?
Teleportation.
Okay. Why?
Honey, I can get out of there at a moment's notice.
Yeah.
Flying is awesome, but it still takes time. Some people
no
walk,
time
some
in the
people
spirit.
run, some people mount up on wings.
On wings as eagles?
I teleport. Okay, that's First Colossians. No, teleport definitely.
Okay. What is your all-time favorite? Okay, this one is because Erin she just told y'all she's a music educator, and she is a singer. Her and her family, they're all musicians. They all flow in that gift. So, what's your favorite song all time to sing? I'm not going to make you sing it.
No. Okay, I know.
Okay, all right. Or maybe I will.
New Attitude by Patti LaBelle.
No, I wouldn't expect it. Why? Why that's
I am naturally a positive person, and I think even with my avoidance, being an Enneagram 7, trying to see the good, I encourage myself a lot. And that song ministers to me, y'all probably hear it oh God, change the channel. I'm like, no, wait.
Lord.
Because just, she talks about the wires got crossed, the tables were turned. I had to learn a lesson. I need a new attitude. So I'm always thinking when I feel like complaint is a blanket and I'm complaining or seeing the negative all the time, I know I need to back away and get a new perspective on things.
I like that. Come on, friend. See, this
Patti
is why I
LaBelle,
call
new
you. When I need a new attitude, this is why I call you. I'll be like, listen, child, girl, listen to this.
But I'm all in the car wishing I had shoulder pads,
Oh, Lord,
I got to get mine.
Jesus. That's funny. That's funny. But you know what? Now that you say that is your attitude. That is your personality. So we gonna bump that on the way out.
Hey.
Okay. So my next question. Tell us a time that you experienced the worst date ever. You know, we both got enough dating stories to fill another hour of the podcast. So tell us real quick, what's one that comes to mind?
Oh, God. The worst date ever. Okay.
Oh.
It was a date. Well, I thought it was a date, but turns out it was a girls' night. I went to Studio Movie Grill, right?
Okay.
Which, guys, do not take a girl on a date to the movies.
Because you can't talk.
You can't talk, and that's so...
Cliche.
Yes, like, come on, listen to what we're saying, okay? You get so many points if you think outside the box. I would prefer a walk along Lakeshore Drive in Lake Michigan than, going to the movies. But anyway, so I had, like, my movie sweater, because it's always cold in the theater, right? And so the guy that I met, it was here in Arlington, Jesus. He walks in and he was like, I was like, oh gosh, my sweater is already cold. And he was like, you have a blankie? Just like that. I have a blankie too. And I was like,
no ma'am. No, not a blankie.
I thought this was a date, not girls' night out.
Not a babysitting trip.
And so we're sitting in there. And I just adjusted the sweater, like, he goes, it's cold here. My toes are cold.
Oh, okay.
And
all right. You shut up for the rest. Just eat the popcorn, Frank. eat the popcorn, anime.
Right.
Oh, my God. Okay, yeah, no. Yeah. I thought you was going to talk about, I'm not going to bring it up. Okay.
Go on and say it. Let's go down the rabbit hole.
No, we ain't going to do that. We ain't going to.
Now I'm like, who you? You know too much.
I know. I ain't going to do you like that. Okay, so here's my next question, for real. Piggybacking off of that one. Mm-hmm. If you're choosing a mate, all right, Mr. Wonderful, would you rather that he be rich, physically attractive, or funny, and why? He can only be one.
Oh, God.
Yeah, you can't listen, you can't have it all on this show. You get one.
Rich, physically attractive.
Or funny.
Well, like, I've been Poe. Okay.
I
can't do that life no more. Okay, I can't. Yeah, he'd have to be rich. And I just pray that, in my eyes, what movie is that where the guy, he keeps seeing this girl that, like, she's, in real life, she's, like, humongous. And, but whenever he sees her.
Was it Shallow Hal or whatever?
Yeah.
Girl, let me tell you. Listen,
I need the spirit of Shallow Hal
I already made
as I spend that
a pact with myself. I mean, I do want to, I do need to wake up in the middle of the night and not be scared. Yes. But, I mean, I don't want to, ooh, Lord.
Girl, geez. Millionaires are not ugly.
Hello?
Billionaires are not ugly.
Let me tell you something. Jay-Z pre-2010 or so, he was not cute. But right now, Jay-Z is looking like
hey, boo.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, we dating. Look, I dated for love enough, okay? I went down that road enough, all right? Now you got to bring something else.
I just want to say I'm not a materialistic person, but I've lived the life of poverty and I just can't.
You got to do more than look good and burn up my grass. So, all right, the next one and the last one is, so since you said he was rich, all right, if you met a wealthy man tomorrow, matter of fact, we walk out here and this wealthy man is out. Yeah, he out here. He out here.
Let me get these glasses.
We putting that in the atmosphere. You walk outside, you meet this wealthy man, and he says, Erin, all of mine is yours.
Hallelujah.
Ain't that a blessing? I really want to take care of you. I want to make sure that you, that you good. You set. Would you still be running your business?
That is hard. I would like to think that I would because I am naturally like, oh my God, like traveling the world and shopping all the time is boring. It would be boring after a while. But, you know, I would like to think that I would, because I'm naturally a worker. You know, like I always have ideas. You know, the execution is still getting a little, but
it's in process.
But I would definitely have the resources to expand in the way I would want to. So I would absolutely still be working.
Yeah.
I would just be like, y'all come up here. And
so this is what I would do. Not to steal your mama, but this is what I would do. So yes, I would still have my business, but I would just like hire the people that I needed to run it. I could be the CEO and, you know, the founder and all of that. And me and my boo, we could just be, you know, jet setting and enjoying ourselves and all that other good stuff. I don't necessarily have to put my hands in the dirt to work.
Right. I can
and we
delegate.
can make us more monies. You know, it's an investment.
I can take phone calls in Seychelles, in
I ain't gonna
Geneva,
take no phone calls. I'm finna put somebody else on the phone. I don't
Rio
wanna
de
talk to nobody. I
Janeiro,
don't like talking on the phone.
in Toronto.
I'll take an email.
You know, I don't mind. I don't mind being a contributor.
There
you know, and not having to worry about different things, you know. But yeah, I would definitely expand in the way I really want to. And it would be amazing. But dear God, if you're hearing this, you know, it's
I'm telling you, we about to walk outside and it's going to be two rich men walking down here. And listen, I'm putting it out there. I'm manifesting.
Honey, I might need to sign up for Juanita Bynum's Prayer Institute.
Shut up.
So I can go on and pray my prayer.
You going to pay the $5,000 to be in the institute, girl.
It ain't 100.
A mess.
So I can pray it through the right part of the brain.
No, ma'am.
That's messy. But yes.
It's messy.
Yeah, I would still operate my business, but I would be able to go faster, farther, and farther.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
Well, thank you, Erin.
Thank you.
You know, it's always a pleasure and a good time when we get together. We about to go. I got to finish this wine so we can get
more
dinner
wine.
And we can have more fun and more conversation off the camera. But tell the people, how can they engage with you? How can, like, if a teacher is looking to do, you know, what we talked about, transitioning, pivoting, thinking, teaching, and growing rich, how can she get in touch with you and what can you offer her?
Well.
Or him.
Him or her.
Him, her, them, they. What's all the pronouns, you know?
Yes. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn at I am Erin Cross. You can also reach out to me at info@beatriceandthebeat.com. And you can contact me at 682-214-3088. That is my business line. And you can follow me on all the socials at I am Erin Cross or at Beatrice and the Beat or The Key Factor.
Girl, you just scared me giving out that phone number. I'm like, what, Jesus?
Oh, yeah. No, my block game is strong.
Oh,
it's
okay, because, you know, I had to change mine. I said, no.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks again, Erin, for coming and indulging me in a good conversation. Y'all, we will be back next week. Same time, same bad time, same bad channel. All right, we'll be back next week, and we are going to be talking to Miss Ada Crenshaw next week.
Awesome.
And she is going to talk about her TED Talk that she did. Y'all know I'm a TED Talk junkie. And when she told me she did a TED Talk, I was a little jealous, but I'm not going to tell her I was jealous.
You'll be up there soon.
Girl, I got to do me a TED Talk.
Yes.
But she's going to talk all about her TED Talk, about what it means to fail. So we're going to talk about failure next week. So just be prepared. Come back. Tell your friends. Tell your loved ones and everything. And we'll see you next week at 6 p.m. Central right here on the Bright Girls in Business show. See y'all later.
Build a brand that grows your business. Let BrightGirl Media take the guesswork out of marketing your business. Our team is dedicated to helping you build a brand that is so powerful it woos your ideal clients. We offer custom website development, email marketing, social media marketing, and more. With membership subscriptions as low as $39 per month, we have solutions for every budget. Let's create a plan of action to make sure your business wins. Visit us at brightgirl.media to learn how we can empower you to reach your goals.